Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new t-shirt for sale on Barbershop Window, and it couldn't have come at a more perfect time. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript now available, and his empire is still not over. All you Roman Reigns geeks, all the ones who are salty over everything that I have stated being true, what are you going to do with this design? You're going to cry and you're going to be salty and you're going to get triggered over the fact, oh, JD, why are you making money off Roman Reigns, man? Blow me! His empire is not over. Nothing that this man does will work. So if you're frustrated with WWE's political agenda involving Roman Reigns, if you're sick and tired of it, if you want to voice your frustrations with it, there's no better way. There's no better way than to wear this masterpiece. If you're going to Monday Night Raw, if you're going to SmackDown, if you're going to NXT, if you're going to Ring of Honor, or any independent wrestling show this summer, do not attend it without wearing this shirt, man. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript, and Barbershop Window is giving you guys a deal this week, limited time only, off all orders. All you have to do is enter the coupon code BSHOP20. That's one word, BSHOP20 at checkout, and you're going to save 20% off. Not only on this shirt, but every shirt on my shop, man. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Go and get the new "And His Empire is Still Not Over" design on Barbershop Window. Oh man, if it's one thing that I enjoy most during my weeks, it's not drinking a cold beverage, it's not watching WWE, it's not catching up on my sleep, it's not playing Fortnite with the guys, it's making the Roman geeks salty. I love it. I absolutely love it, man. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is immune from Tuesday nights. We'll talk about him on Mondays, Fridays, Saturday, Sunday. You guys know the deal, but we're going to talk about SmackDown Live tonight and their build towards Money in the Bank. Now, SmackDown Live wasn't a great show. SmackDown Live did what it needed to do to build towards Money in the Bank, and they did a decent job at that tonight. So I figured I'd start off with the biggest thing that happened tonight, and that is Daniel Bryan and Rusev in the main event of SmackDown Live. This seems to have a lot of people with mixed emotions, and I really don't know why. So hopefully I could lay it out for you and at least calm everybody's emotions tonight. Daniel Bryan obviously was the odds-on favorite to advance to Money in the Bank. Everybody wanted to see Daniel Bryan in the Money in the Bank. They wanted to see Daniel Bryan in the ladder match with The Miz. Blah, blah, blah. We all know that. But what about Rusev? What about Rusev? Rusev has been held down by management. Rusev has gotten the short end of the stick, whether it's at WrestleMania, losing his United States Championship match, or the following Tuesday, losing again in a number one contenders match, or if he's in a tag team with Aiden English for the tag team titles, not being positioned to challenge for the tag team championships. Rusev has had a very rough year. It's been a roller coaster year for Rusev on SmackDown Live. Now, I asked you guys a question. I understand Daniel Bryan is a favorite of a lot of people, including me. I'd love to see Daniel Bryan achieve the success that he had before he retired. But do you want to see it so soon without a proper build-up and a proper storyline to get us there? Or do you want Daniel Bryan to go through the motions again and take us along for the ride? What would a win for Daniel Bryan do over Rusev? Not much. It would get him in Money in the Bank. Now, look at it from the other side. What would a win for Rusev do over Daniel Bryan? You know, it would do a lot of things. It would get him in Money in the Bank. It would get him with some of the biggest stars in the company right now in that 8-man ladder match. It would give him the biggest win of his WWE career. And that's exactly what it was. It was the biggest win of Rusev's WWE career. You see, if Daniel Bryan lost tonight, which he did, nothing would happen to him. His momentum would be the same. He's white hot. He's beloved by everybody. Now, if Rusev won, what would that do for Rusev? His momentum now is at an all-time high. That's a big fucking deal. For you to walk into next week's SmackDown Live knowing that you beat Daniel Bryan in the main event last week, clean. Everybody expected Rusev to win, maybe with an outside interference from Big Cass, but that didn't happen. He won with a Machka kick. Clean. You can't touch that, man. That is what I want to see. Daniel Bryan can afford a loss. He can afford as many losses as he could take. But Rusev, he's lost so many times that people, you know, are starting to sour on Rusev. You're starting to hear mumblings and grumblings of, I'm over Rusev Day. This is a great win for Rusev, man. It positions him in Money in the Bank to be alongside guys like Balor and Miz and Strowman and whoever else is in that match. It's a big deal, man. That's a big fucking deal for Rusev. Another reason why Daniel Bryan didn't win is because the repercussions of the Big Cass match at Backlash. Now, we all know that Big Cass and Daniel Bryan, nobody wants to see that. It was trash. It was a miserable match. But from what happened post-match, we all know that Daniel Bryan and Big Cass, that program is not done yet by a long shot. We at least have one more pay-per-view to go. So I just want to make you guys aware of that shitty situation. The biggest reason why I'm glad Daniel Bryan didn't win, and I am more of an old school way of thinking. I'm of an old school mentality. Daniel Bryan and The Miz, we all know that this is the program that's going to carry SmackDown Live through 2018. There's a reason why The Miz was brought to SmackDown Live, and his name is Daniel Bryan. Now, everybody nowadays is so rush. Let's get them together. Let's get the program started. And there's no build. You know, everybody's so impatient nowadays. They don't want a good build. They don't want to go on the journey where two guys tell a great story like Gargano and Ciampa. I'm enjoying the fuck out of whatever they're doing, man. I could watch them feud all fucking year. You ain't going to hear a peep out of me. But with The Miz and Daniel Bryan, yes, there was the talking smack incident, and Daniel Bryan made the tweet about Miz, and he can't wait to kick Miz's teeth down his throat when he comes to SmackDown Live. But outside of those two instances, is there anything to feud over, really? Now, if you put them in the same match, yeah, it's going to be cool for that one night. And it still doesn't give them a reason to feud or continue to feud. Now, if The Miz wins Money in the Bank, which is a high probability, depending on if Roman Reigns gets in the match, we don't know yet. I expect Roman Reigns to be in the match, the way WWE is booking him. If The Miz wins Money in the Bank, and Daniel Bryan is challenging for the WWE Championship this summer, comes close to winning it, or maybe he does win it, and Miz wins Money in the Bank. He's carrying the briefcase around, and he fucks over Daniel Bryan. There's a reason for them to feud. You got to give these guys a reason to feud. I'm glad Daniel Bryan and The Miz aren't going to be locking up at Money in the Bank, because I want to wait for something solid for them to feud over. Right now, there really is nothing but words. I want to see those words turned into action, and that's when things are going to start picking up. So I'm glad Rusev won. I'm happy for Rusev. Daniel Bryan can afford a loss, and I don't want to see The Miz and Daniel Bryan yet. There's plenty of time for them to cross paths. So be patient, please. Speaking of The Miz, this is the other thing I want to talk about. You know, a lot of people are very, very stupid when it comes to the things that they say. And I don't mean any of you listening to me, the shit that I see on social media. The people who don't know any better, the people who are like I say, I'm going to coin the term, blithering idiots. The Miz is not the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. I don't care. You're not going to put him in the league of a Bret Hart or a Shawn Michaels or a Mr. Perfect. You're not going to do that. I would never lump The Miz in categories with those guys. It's ludicrous to me. Now, I'm not disrespecting The Miz by any means, but I don't think he's on that level. The Miz, during his Intercontinental Championship run, outside of his mic work, wasn't really that good. And the reason why he wasn't that good was because he was stuck with cronies. He was stuck with, supporting characters like Axel and Dallas, who helped him win and interfered in every match, and it just made every match the same old shit. And when he won, it was like, okay, we knew that was coming. He won by cheating. He's the heel. That's what heels do, right? But how many people enjoyed The Miz then? You enjoyed The Miz talking, and you enjoyed The Miz and the way he carried a feud and the way he spoke to his opponent via promo, right? How many of you enjoy The Miz in what he's doing now? And this is what I stated. This is what I stated when I was talking about The Miz. And not only The Miz, Jinder Mahal. If The Miz is winning matches now the way he is, right? How much better does he look compared to what we were seeing when he was on Monday Night Raw? He looks a lot better now, doesn't he? Why does he look a lot better? It's because The Miz doesn't have anybody to fucking back him up. His in-ring ability and the way he carries himself in the ring is highlighted more. And his character growth rises every single time he wins a match with no help. I am loving what The Miz is doing right now because it makes him a hungrier, smarter in-ring performer. You don't need outside interference to help you in every situation. The Miz has never, in his 10-year career, The Miz has never looked better than he has looked this week with the match with Rollins and the match with Jeff Hardy. You don't need to cheat to win to be a good heel. Look at what The Miz did tonight. Out of all fucking guys, over one of the most over baby faces on the roster in Jeff Hardy. Hardy hits the Swanton Bomb, and The Miz, using his in-ring smarts, realized that the way Jeff Hardy was positioned when he landed on top of him with the Swanton Bomb, rolled him up with a crucifix. 1, 2, 3, done, over, win. Can you honestly say you prefer that Miz compared to this Miz? No. And you know what? The Miz is going to take the microphone and he's going to be the same Miz. Now, after this week, his entire WWE run is coming together. He looks smarter, he looks hungrier, he looks better than ever. And I hope it continues, man. I love, I'm going to go back on what I stated. I initially thought Big Cass and The Miz was a good pairing, right? I'm going to scrap that. You don't need The Miz with anybody. After what we've seen this week, you don't need The Miz with anybody. The Miz is fine on his own. I think the character The Miz should be portraying is a guy that never gives up. He just never seems to fucking die. He's that pesky heel that will never go away. It's very difficult to beat someone like that. And that's what they're portraying him like and as. A pesky heel that never goes away. It's like a fucking gnat in the summertime during a family barbecue. He never fucking goes away. He doesn't need Axel. He doesn't need Dallas. He's fine on his own. If WWE did the same thing with Jinder Mahal like they're doing with The Miz right now, maybe I wouldn't hate on Jinder Mahal. Maybe Jinder Mahal would be portrayed and looked at like The Miz is being looked at now. This is the point I'm trying to make. I love what they're doing with The Miz right now. How great does he look right now? And can you imagine if The Miz is this good right now without anybody? Can you imagine when he wins Money in the Bank and becomes the ultimate opportunist and he's the WWE champion if this happens? And we get a match with Daniel Bryan and The Miz, how great that match is going to be if the story is told correctly with this version of The Miz? Come on, bro. You don't need any outside interference for The Miz. The Miz is fine on his own. I hope they don't change a thing about what they're doing with The Miz. Keep it this way. Another thing I want to talk about, man. WWE made a ruling tonight that the New Day will go up against the Bar when they go to England next week, or the United Kingdom, for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. The winner of that match will have one member of the winning team go to Money in the Bank. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. The only reason why I don't like that is because, A, you know, I don't want to really bash anybody or, you know, like Sheamus and Cesaro. I think they're very good on their own. But you're setting these teams up to ultimately fail. I don't expect anyone from the New Day, if they win, to be Mr. Money in the Bank. I don't expect Cesaro or Sheamus to be Mr. Money in the Bank. So it ultimately is going to end up being a wasted spot that could go to somebody else. There is many other guys on that roster that I would prefer to see over a Sheamus or a New Day. You know, Cesaro, he's been due for a singles run, but right now, in this instance, in this moment, at that event, I don't want to see that. I'd much rather see an Almas. I'd much rather see a Dillinger. I'd much rather see a Joe in that match, right? Come on, man. You don't really need that. You already got The Miz and you got Rusev, you know. Now, one of those other two spots is going to be taken up by either a member of the Bar or a member of the New Day. Come on, bro. Really? Those two spots should be saved for Joe and Almas, to be brutally honest with you. That decision is fucking stupid. And this also means that the rumor of WWE giving us a third Money in the Bank via tag teams is pretty much dead. They had the tag teams pretty much come out on Monday Night Raw and express that they want to be Mr. Money in the Bank, and everybody thought, well, is WWE going to add a tag team ladder match? Clearly, that's not the case. There will be members of tag teams that could potentially get into Money in the Bank, the men's side. Now, the Money in the Bank poster highlighted 3 briefcases. The advertisement highlighted 3 briefcases, one for the men, one for the women, and an extra briefcase. There was 3 briefcases hanging from the chain above, with the ladders in the background. I would not be against 205 Live tonight, and I haven't watched 205 Live yet because I'm doing this review. I would not be against 205 Live for the next 6 weeks. Build towards Money in the Bank, and they get a Money in the Bank ladder match. How great would that be if the men, the women, and the cruiserweights got a Money in the Bank ladder match? Now, I could be right here, and whatever we're watching on 205 Live this week is the start of that. And I jumped the gun. I ended up being right. I hope I am. I think that would be fantastic. And I'd love to see that. 8 cruiserweights in the same match to cash in for Cedric Alexander's briefcase. I think that's a great fucking idea, man. It would give those guys a nice spotlight in Chicago. I think the fans in Chicago would be all over that shit. And those types of guys in a ladder match makes sense to me, man. Makes complete sense to me. Charlotte and Peyton Royce. Let's talk about this, man. Everybody on social media up in arms. Charlotte, Charlotte, Charlotte. The Iconics are brought to SmackDown Live to lose and be jobbers and be the jobber team to the stars. I don't want to be in that camp yet. I don't. But my good buddy Justin LeBar, always bringing me down to earth when he talks to me, always states to me that wrestling is about timing. When it's your time, it's your time. The Iconics are new. They haven't even been on SmackDown Live for a month yet. And everybody's complaining that they've been brought to SmackDown Live to lose. It's okay to lose to Charlotte. It's okay to lose to Asuka. It's fine. They ain't going anywhere. Has Peyton Royce or Billie Kay done anything to get into Money in the Bank? No. Did you expect Peyton Royce to beat Miss Charlotte Flair, the Roman Reigns of the female women's division? No. Of course not. Now, I understand people's logic and people's concerns. Charlotte has seen her moment in the sun. Charlotte has had her opportunities, right? But do you honestly think WWE is going to have a women's Money in the Bank match without Charlotte on SmackDown Live? Now, realistically, if Peyton Royce won this match, with the way things turned out tonight, you would have Peyton Royce and Mandy Rose in Money in the Bank. Now, there's 2 other spots to fill. Who do you think those spots are going to? You know, it ain't going to Billie Kay. It ain't going to Sonya Deville. It ain't going to anybody else on SmackDown Live. It ain't going to Lana. Who else is on SmackDown Live? That's it. That's all you got. Charlotte, Mandy Rose, Asuka was interviewed tonight. Clearly, she's going to be in the Money in the Bank. Do you see Asuka not qualifying? Do you see Asuka losing a one-on-one match? No. Asuka's going to be there. And then Naomi. Naomi's going to be there. She won the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So I'm assuming WWE is going to continue that trend. So it's going to be Charlotte, Mandy Rose, Asuka, and Naomi. Those are the 4 for SmackDown Live. It's a little bit more easy to predict on SmackDown Live. Monday Night Raw is a little bit more unpredictable. Because we had Ruby Riott, who could definitely be there. Sasha Banks, who could definitely be there. WWE put too many eggs in one basket with that triple threat match. It should be one-on-one, and I don't know why they did that. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to predict on Monday Night Raw side. But I understand people's frustrations with Peyton Royce. It's not her time yet. It's not her time yet. So Charlotte's going to be there, and we're going to have to live with it. Whether WWE builds the storyline of Charlotte winning the Money in the Bank and getting revenge on Carmella, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think Charlotte's winning the match, period. And Charlotte is pretty much done with Carmella nowadays anyway. There's no reason for Charlotte to even concern herself with Carmella. She lost her rematch, and that's it. And she lost clean. So Carmella's moving on to somebody else. Who that somebody else is, I don't know. But Charlotte is in Money in the Bank, and we're going to have to live with it. WWE is going to give you a star-studded match, and you can't have a star-studded match without their prize piece, and that prize piece on SmackDown Live and in WWE is Charlotte. Live with it. I'm okay with Peyton Royce losing. She hasn't done anything right now for me to look at her and say, yeah, she deserves Money in the Bank. But the other thing I want to talk about with the women, you figured if Charlotte's going to be there, that WWE would put Becky Lynch in Money in the Bank. I don't know what they're doing with Becky Lynch, and I don't know if she pissed somebody off, if somebody just doesn't like her. I don't know what it is. How you can have a Money in the Bank ladder match and not have Becky Lynch in it is fucking criminal. It really is criminal, man. Now, WWE, just based on the way she looks, is high on Mandy Rose. Nobody looking at Mandy Rose is going to deny she's not a beautiful woman. Okay? But WWE, more likely than anything else, takes looks above wrestling skill. Becky Lynch is a beautiful woman in her own right, but, you know, the blonde, the sensuality of Mandy Rose, which was put into serious question tonight, the way she moved down the ring. I don't know what the fuck she was doing, but it did not look sexy at all. I don't know what the fuck she was doing walking down the aisle. We'll talk about that in a second, but, you know, Mandy Rose beat Becky Lynch tonight based strictly on looks. And that's the only reason why Mandy Rose won tonight. And the only reason why Mandy Rose was positioned over Becky Lynch to go into Money in the Bank. I want Becky Lynch to be there because she's the better wrestler. I want Becky Lynch to be there because she's criminally underutilized. She has been held down by management. That's someone that's been held down by management. And I don't know what WWE is doing with Becky. There were reports last year that management doesn't like the way she speaks. Management doesn't like her accent. So it would not surprise me that WWE is just merely holding her back all this time because there's just something about her that they don't like. Meanwhile, Stephanie McMahon comes out and says that Becky Lynch is a pioneer in the women's division. If she's such a pioneer, why is she not getting the chances that the other women are getting? Becky Lynch has only been one time women's champion on SmackDown Live. Meanwhile, we had Alexa Bliss holding both titles on both brands multiple times. Sasha, Charlotte, even Bayley. Why isn't Becky in that same league? I don't understand it. And it's not surprising to me that they would hold her back because of the way she speaks or her accent. Just this past weekend on Off the Script, I talked about Aiden English being held back. And the reason why they might distance Aiden English from Rusev is because they don't like the way Aiden English looks. This is not surprising to me, coming from WWE. WWE management and WWE in general is very shallow and petty. And that would really, really sadden me if Becky Lynch is not being pushed for those reasons. There's no reason why you're going to have a Money in the Bank match and not have Becky Lynch in that match. It's ridiculous to me. What does this woman have to do to get pushed on television? She should be up there with the Sashas and the Charlottes and the Baileys and the Alexas and the Nias. Are you fucking kidding me that Nia Jax is better off than Becky Lynch? Criminal, man. Absolutely criminal. I know that's going to be a big talking point for SmackDown Live tonight. Why Becky Lynch did not advance in Money in the Bank. Speaking of Mandy Rose, we got her own theme music back, which is great. Mandy Rose has identity. Finally. Finally! They have done away with Paige's theme music. Mandy Rose walking down the aisle. I don't know what the fuck she was doing, man. It did not look sensual at all. She needs to work on that. You know she's dating Tino Sabatelli, right? So lucky him, right? If that's the way she walks into the bedroom wearing sexy lingerie, Tino may be The Rock with his eyebrow raised in the air. Like, what the fuck you doing? But I guess coming from Mandy Rose, she could walk anyway wearing anything, and, there you go. Have a good night. But it didn't look good on television whatsoever, man. It looked absolutely ridiculous. It looked very forced. It didn't look natural whatsoever, is what I'm trying to tell you. Her theme music sounded like it was straight from a Brazzers film, and it sounded like porno music. I don't know whether she was wrestling or starring with Val Venus in his latest flick. Every rose has its fill in the blank. That's your job. Every rose has its what? That's Mandy Rose's new film based on the theme music that she came out with tonight. But I'm glad she's got an identity. I'm glad she has her own personality now away from Paige. That was completely ridiculous. And a lot of people, even me, when I first seen Mandy Rose, she looks like Eva Marie 2.0. I think we're going to be better off with Mandy Rose. So hopefully we see some growth in her and they allow her to wrestle so she can show us what she's really made of. Because all I'm hearing is that Mandy Rose has big potential. Tonight we couldn't see it because it was a minute squash, almost. Fluke victory over Becky Lynch. So hopefully we see some more from Mandy Rose going into Money in the Bank. Other than that, man, that was pretty much the big topics on SmackDown Live. They did a good job at building towards Money in the Bank. We got another great match with The Miz and Jeff Hardy. And Rusev and Daniel Bryan was the main event of SmackDown Live tonight. It was pretty much the first half an hour was taken up by The Miz and Jeff Hardy, and then WWE filled in the rest with whatever else they got going on. So the show opened up with The Miz versus Jeff Hardy. Very good match to open SmackDown Live. Miz blocked a twist of fate. Hardy drops Miz over the top rope on the apron, and it looked like he dropped on his neck, which looked very, very painful. There was also a spot in this match where Jeff did a sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope, and the Miz, they slowed it down and they showed it in slow motion. The Miz head bounced off the mat, and I know for a fact after that move, the way that they slowed it down, he had to be hurting after that, man. Looked pretty devastating. So that happens there. Fans are chanting, "This is awesome." Miz blocked Hardy's kicks in the quarter, and Miz blocks the twist of fate again, but Hardy blocks the skull-crushing finale, rolls Miz up for a 2 count. Hardy launches Miz into the corner, hits the double kicks in the corner that he's known for. Hardy finally hits the twist of fate, goes back to the top. He hits the Swanton Bomb, and everybody thought it was over. The Swanton Bomb hit, and Miz kicks out, and just as he kicks out, rolls Hardy over into a crucifix, pins him 1, 2, 3, and it was over. The Miz beat Jeff Hardy to advance to Money in the Bank. Now, I've seen some people complaining that, well, the move and the ending didn't really sell Jeff Hardy's Swanton Bomb, but I didn't mind it at all. It was ingenious. It was great. It was different. It was The Miz outsmarting his opponent. And it's like The Miz, he might have not sold it then, but you're going to do whatever you have to do to win. You're going to battle through the pain. The Miz sold the move after he pinned Hardy. So it's not like he didn't sell the move at all. He just battled through the pain, seen an opening, and did what nobody else thought to do. Pinned Jeff Hardy in the middle of his finishing move. Because there's a little hesitation there when Hardy comes off the top rope, where he positions himself to hook the leg. Miz seen an opening, covered him, rolled it into a crucifix, and won the match. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that ending whatsoever. So whoever's complaining about that, you say, I nitpick. Those people were nitpicking. I loved it. I thought it was great. Miz advances to Money in the Bank. Sheamus is backstage eating Lucky Charms or Booty-O's. Might as well be Lucky Charms. I'm pretty sure they taste the same thing as Lucky Charms. Haven't had a bowl of Lucky Charms since I was in fucking high school. Eating Booty-O's out of the bag. Cesaro asks him what he's doing, or why he's doing that. Sheamus says it's the only thing that will make him feel better after losing to Xavier Woods last week. Cesaro thought he had him. Now, Sheamus says he would have won if it wasn't for Kofi Kingston and Big E. Cesaro says that he tried to help, but pretty much he says he could have defeated Woods. So he's pretty much saying that, I could do what you couldn't do last week. Sheamus proposes Cesaro versus Woods tonight. So Cesaro says that's a great idea because no one will disrespect the bar 2 weeks in a row. Cesaro opens his gear bag and notices that it's full of miniature pancakes. Sheamus laughs at him. Sheamus opens his bag and finds miniature pancakes in his bag. They both get mad, flip out, turn the tables over, dump the bags out with full pancakes just spilling all over the floor. And the match is set up for later in the evening, Cesaro versus Xavier Woods. Shinsuke Nakamura says that he and AJ Styles are not finished. Now, there's a promo here by Shinsuke as Renee Young visibly gets upset, trying to ask Shinsuke what's going on with AJ, where do you go next with AJ? Shinsuke Nakamura being a prick. Just full-on sarcasm. And I loved every minute of it, man. Shinsuke says he and AJ are not done yet.
Shinsuke, you've not been cleared for competition tonight following your grueling no disqualification match at Backlash. Is this issue between you and AJ Styles over?
No. Speak English.
Shinsuke, we know that you speak English. We've heard you speak English before.
Oh, yes. I learn English, but I've forgotten it. So now, no speak English.
Okay, well, before you forget how to speak English again, is there anything that you would like to say to AJ Styles?
AJ Styles is nuts. But so am I. We are not finished.
The way he worded it, man. AJ Styles nuts. And then he pauses, but then he says, and so am I. So they're not finished yet, which obviously we seen coming with the double countdown at Backlash. All we need to know now is how they continue this for the next 5 weeks and what type of match they will have, seemingly, at Money in the Bank. Charlotte versus Peyton Royce here. I mean, I didn't really care for the match at all. I don't mind Peyton Royce in the ring. You've seen her, do what she does, and she's only going to get better. She's much better than Billie Kay, and she's much better than Carmella. One thing I am, a little, not annoyed, but surprised at, Peyton Royce has a beautiful perfect plex, and that's her finishing move. We have not seen that done on the main roster yet. It really is a thing of beauty, and she's done it a lot in NXT, and I hope you guys get to see it on the main roster. It's something that would definitely make Mr. Perfect proud. We haven't seen that yet. Charlotte, I wish we wouldn't see her moonsault anymore. Charlotte, and I don't give a fuck who I trigger here or who I make salty. I don't give a fuck if you want to, tweet me on social media or, subtweet me. I don't care. Charlotte's moonsault is fucking awful. There was a cringeworthy spot in this match where Charlotte goes for her moonsault, and I don't know what the spot was supposed to be, but as always, Charlotte overshoots it. She looks awkward doing it. She comes down, Peyton Royce gets the knees up, and connects with the knees on Charlotte. Charlotte gets right up and no-sells the knees and goes right back to doing something else. So it's like, I don't know if that spot was supposed to happen. I don't know if Peyton Royce fucked up. Charlotte clearly fucked up with the moonsault. The moonsault needs to be taken out of her repertoire completely. It is awful. It looks terrible. And everybody's like, oh, Charlotte is the superior athlete. Learn how to do a fucking moonsault first before you start calling yourself the superior athlete. All because she's the only woman on the main roster doing a fucking moonsault doesn't mean that she is the superior athlete or that she's better than anybody else. Right? You know how many times I get criticized for saying Sasha Banks botches? And how dare I say Sasha Banks is better than Charlotte? Eat my fucking cock. Everybody that wants to fucking get triggered when I say Sasha Banks is better than Charlotte. Blow me. I'll say it every fucking time. Sasha Banks is far better than Charlotte in the ring. And I don't give a fuck who hears it, who says it, who agrees with it, who disagrees with it. Charlotte is great in the ring. Don't get me wrong. But better than Sasha? No. I'm sorry. For as many botches as Sasha supposedly does, or has, look at your queen Charlotte. She can't even do her moonsault correctly. Fuck out of here, man. Peyton goes for the knee again because they're selling the knee from the Carmella match. Peyton goes for the knee. Flair avoids it, rolls her up for 2 count. Flair ends up dropping Peyton with a big boot out of the corner. Goes to the moonsault. Peyton gets her knees up, but Charlotte no-sells it. I don't know what the fuck was going on. Flair then crutches her knee, starts holding her knee. Peyton with the knee for another close pin attempt. Peyton goes for a move, but Flair counters, hits the big spear in the middle of the ring. 2 count. Peyton rolls Flair up again. Flair with the roll-up of her own. Flair applies the figure 4, bridges into the figure 8, and Peyton Royce taps out for the win. Nothing special there. We get a look at Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass from Backlash. Dasha Fuentes, who still sounds robotic on SmackDown Live. She looks ridiculous. She looks completely out of her element. Just like Paige in the beginning of the show. You hear what Paige said when she came out? Paige looks completely in Bizarro world when she stands out there. She looks completely uncomfortable in her role as general manager. I hope this comes, with time as she gets more comfortable. Paige comes out and says, well, we just came off Backlash and I think it was a resounding success. What? The fuck were you watching? Did you mix Backlash up 2018 with NXT TakeOver New Orleans? What the fuck were you watching on Sunday night? I know what I was watching on Sunday night. The worst pay-per-view of the year. How WWE has Paige come out and state that Backlash was a success. Are you fucking serious? Then I got goons in the comment section on my tweet, where I stated that, how Paige came out. What I find funny is how Paige came out and said that Backlash was a resounding success. I got people tweeting me. Oh, JD, do you know Paige is supposed to say that? She's scripted to say that, man. No shit! So whose fault is it? WWE for actually thinking Backlash was a resounding success? Or WWE just becoming the most fucking... The biggest comedians in the wrestling world? Are they trying to make a funny? I didn't laugh. Shit like this is not supposed to be joked about. It was awful. Absolutely awful. Moving on. Xavier Woods versus Cesaro. Xavier Woods, always a talented individual in the ring. Cesaro ends up winning here with outside interference, of course. Sheamus gets on the apron, starts yelling at the referee. Cesaro then takes advantage of the distraction. Kofi comes out of nowhere to provide an assist. He crossbodies Sheamus on the outside. Woods with a shining wizard as Sheamus argues with the official. Like I said, that was before the crossbody. Big E starts throwing pancakes at him, then Kofi crossbodies him. Woods goes to the top. Sheamus jumps off the apron. Big E moves out of the way. Kofi ends up leaping off the apron to do a crossbody on Sheamus. Woods leaps from the top to deliver the elbow drop, but Sheamus catches him in midair with a big uppercut for the win. Big European uppercut coming off the top rope. Woods was bloodied. I don't know if he banged a tooth or he ripped a lip. I don't know what it was, but Xavier Woods was bleeding from the mouth after the uppercut. Cesaro wins, and he defeats Xavier Woods. He does what Sheamus could not do the week before. Renee Young is backstage with AJ Styles, who was not cleared. Nakamura and AJ Styles were not cleared due to the Backlash match. Renee says Nakamura already says he's not done with AJ. AJ cuts Renee off and admits that he stooped to Nakamura's level, but he was allowed to. He didn't stoop to no levels if you were allowed to. You had to. But he doesn't want to fight like that. He says that he will if he has to, and especially if the title's on the line. AJ agrees that they're not done. He says that he doesn't care why or where it is or when it is. If Nakamura has the guts to step back into the ring with him, AJ will finish him. Nakamura may be the king of low blows, but this is the house that AJ Styles built. You know, one thing that really kind of makes me cringe about AJ Styles and his promos, when he delivers that, the house that AJ Styles built, it's great when you're in the ring in front of the audience, but when you're backstage with Renee Young, it's the little things that matter here, man. Attention to detail. You don't need to fucking say it the way you would do it in front of the live crowd. Why don't you just speak it and say it like a normal human being? Nakamura may be the king of low blows, but this is the house that AJ Styles built. Like that. He does it in the same tempo and in the same manner he would do it as if he was delivering it in the ring. I hate that. It sounds so stupid. It sounds unnatural. Attention to detail, please. Becky Lynch versus Mandy Rose. Becky gets beat here, and I don't understand why. Becky goes for a disarmer, but Rose escapes. Becky nails the Bexploder suplex. Becky with a big right hand in the corner. Rose counters with a springboard kick. It ends up rolling Becky up for a surprise fluke win. I don't understand this. Before the match, Paige said that Sonya Deville couldn't come out with Mandy Rose. So Mandy Rose won on her own. It's not like she even had outside assistance. She won clean over Becky Lynch. Which is worse, Mandy Rose winning or Mandy Rose winning clean? My God. Daniel Bryan versus Rusev. This was a decent main event, and it had a clean ending. There was no funny business here whatsoever, man. Bryan, he charges and kicks both Rusev and Aiden English through the ropes. Aiden English tried to get involved here. Bryan leaps off the apron, takes Rusev out with the double knees. That flying double knee off the ring apron. Bryan brings it back in the ring. Goes to the top for a initial dropkick. Bryan clutches his ribs, which was a story in this match. And he's got the fans behind him. Everybody thinking Bryan's going to win. Bryan waits in the corner. Starts to do the yes chant. Goes for the big knee. Bryan charges and Rusev lifts him up in the air and drops him ribs first into his knee. And Rusev then goes for a Machka kick and pins Daniel Bryan clean for a spot in Money in the Bank. After the match is over, Rusev celebrates in the aisleway with Aiden English, and SmackDown Live goes off the air with Bryan. Up close shot of him, just disappointed that he did not get into Money in the Bank. So that was the way SmackDown Live went off the air. Decent episode. It built towards Money in the Bank very nicely. Some of the big things that happened tonight, we discussed in the beginning of the show. I hope you guys see my point of view on all that stuff. And SmackDown Live, man, decent. Better than Raw. I will say it was better than Raw last night, and that's all we can ask for. So, Money in the Bank shaping up. Very interested to see how they fill out the rest of the field. Who else is going to be in Money in the Bank on SmackDown's side? I could see Joe. I could see Almas. It's either one of those two guys, because the other spot is going to be filled up by either one of the New Day or one of the Bar, which I don't really agree with, but that's what WWE is doing. On Monday Night Raw side, I fully expect Roman Reigns to get in there. We got 5 weeks left to go. I just don't see them, putting Roman Reigns in a match with Jinder Mahal at Money in the Bank in Chicago. That match will be fucking crucified in Chicago. So I figure Roman Reigns is going to be in Money in the Bank. Brock Lesnar is not defending his title per reports today. He's not defending his title at Money in the Bank. We don't know when we're going to see him, whether it's at Extreme Rules or at SummerSlam. We just don't know yet. So all the more reason for Roman Reigns to be in Money in the Bank. And we'll take it from there, man. If anything breaks this week, you'll hear it on Off the Script. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so very much. Hit that thumbs up. I'll see you guys for NXT. NXT Review is the next time I'll see you guys. So thank you very much. Until then, take care. Enjoy your Tuesday nights. And I will see you all for NXT. Get your t-shirts. barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Coupon code BSHOP20 for 20% off all your orders. I'll talk to you later.